What's going on YouTube? Paul here, and I'd like to do this video blog on classroom management. I kind of talked a little bit about it in my earlier blogs, but I think it really deserves a lot more attention because this can really make or break your experience and your daily routine in Korea. If you at least know some basic expectations and maybe some ideas of how to manage your class once you get here. So I'm going to just speak on like what works for me, and what works for me is totally different than what will work for you and what may work for other people. You know, I'm just speaking on my unique situation at my school, but hell, if you can take one piece of advice from what has worked for me and apply it to you and adapt it to make it your own, hell, that's more than enough for me. It's more than enough to make this video for that purpose alone. So, classroom management. If you have, first I'd just like to say, if you have the expectation or stereotype, at least like I did, about Korean students and Asian students in general being so well behaved and like always raising their hands and just being like super well disciplined, coming and teaching your first week is gonna blow your goddamn mind. Like once you actually physically start teaching the curriculum and start understanding like what your classroom environment is actually like, it's gonna blow your mind. It will really blow your mind because it's so different. It's a different culture. It's completely different than what we perceive as Western people to be what Asian just Asian like students to act and how classrooms are managed here. So we have this idea that like all Korean students and all Asian students in general have like, you know, they're just like robotic, just very well disciplined, very well behaved. But you have to keep in mind that you're teaching English as a second language. You're not teaching math, you're not teaching science. So right there, you're not teaching two of the main big subjects that they really care about in Korea. And again, you're a language teacher. So think back to when you were in elementary school, middle school, or high school, and you took a foreign language. You didn't really treat it, at least for me, I didn't treat it very seriously because it wasn't any of the subjects I was interested in. I had to take it because it was part of my required classes, but I kind of mentally checked out. I mentally checked out in the class. I just either put my head down or not volunteer or joke around with my friends, you know, just like most students would when you think about, like I said, when you were in class during those times when you had to take foreign language classes. It wasn't that serious. That's exactly how it is in Korea. And these kids work their butt off. They really work hard, you know, like their daily routine is really stressful. You know, Korean culture and the way that they structure education is very competitive. And there's a lot of emphasis and family stress that are put on the children to succeed. And there's a lot of standardized testing that also makes it very difficult. So the educational climate here is very difficult, and because of that, they have to, after school's over, they go to academies and they take piano classes and lessons. They go to sports and they do like, you know, taekwondo or judo or anything like that, and they're getting home at 10 o'clock at night, and then they're doing homework for their classes of the day, for the following day, and then they're going to bed at maybe 1 or 2, and then they're getting up at 6 and repeating that cycle over and over. So they're already exhausted. You know, I feel for these kids. Like, I really do, you know, but at the same time, if you come over here thinking like, I'm going to be strict and I'm going to assert myself in the classroom and they're going to respect me whether they like it or not, and I demand attention, all eyes on me at all times, the kids are going to hate you. Like, they're going to hate you. Your co-teacher actually may hate you too, because if you come over as like this total nutjob like dictator, or at least come over in the same teaching style you may thought was effective when you were in the United States, it will totally backfire on you. You need to be extremely open-minded, flexible, and willing to adapt as best as you can. So I'm just going to go over some basic things that have worked for me and some minor issues that I've had and how I've overcome them. So naturally, I'm a goofy human being. Like, I'm really easygoing. I laugh at myself. I make things like as liberal and as like easygoing as I possibly can, and that's because that's innate in my personality. That's an innate thing about me is I'm not a strict guy. I don't like yelling. I don't enjoy making students feel uncomfortable by me raising my voice or staring them down. I don't like that. It makes me feel like shit. I'll literally like go home and still feel bad if I got upset with a student today, and I'll bring that home with me. I know I shouldn't, but it's because I care. Like I care about my students, and I don't want to make them feel like shit. Like they have a lot of pressure as it is. Like I don't need to get my jollies from making freaking third grade kids cry. Like that's terrible. So I'm just going to basically talk about the ways that you can be successful and what to expect here. In a classroom, you're going to have between 20 and 30 kids, and you should split them into groups of like 5 and 4, and you'll use that for games, and you'll use that for different activities. You'll maybe put the desks side by side. This will all be done for you either by your co-teacher, and if it isn't, and they're like in rows, I would definitely not have them in rows. Maybe pair them up with people, like a low-level student with a high-level student. Have them work together and give like incentives for the high-level student to help the low-level, and give like prizes for the high-level student for being like an extension of you, like another teacher to help you, because to teach 30 kids, or even 20 kids for that matter, teach even 10 kids is a lot of work, and you can't really reach all of them, and you want to make an impact with as many of them as you possibly can, because with some of the kids, this is their only exposure to English. So you really want to put your best foot forward. And having at least an extension of you with the students and giving them a little bit more responsibility is really effective, at least for me. So how to handle problem students. This is something that really I struggled with in my first couple months. Like once I first started teaching, I realized, all right, kids are freaking standing up in the middle of me talking and smacking each other. Like these kids will attack each other. Like girls will pull on the boys' hair in the classroom. Guys will, if they're sitting behind someone they don't like, or a girl they don't, or the girl that they do like, they'll jam their desk in the back of their chair, and then the girl will obviously get a reaction and freak out and grab the kid's hair or slap them. This is normal stuff. Like, don't be shocked by any of that. Like, your co-teacher should react to those situations, but you shouldn't. If you have a good co-teacher, your co-teacher will definitely handle those situations better than you could ever imagine, because you're not Korean. Like, you're a foreigner in their country, and because you're not a Korean, the respect value for you is much different. And not that that's a terrible thing, because there are some times when that really helps. But in the classroom, it definitely doesn't do you the best of service, because as a teacher, we're taught to respect our teachers, but here it's a little bit different, that they have more respect for the Korean teacher. So make sure that you have a positive relationship with the Korean teacher and that they handle the problem students. There was a situation for me where I was teaching by myself, and that really sucked because the teacher was sick and was gone for 3 weeks. So I had to teach without a co-teacher for 3 weeks. And it was with my 5th grade students who were like the biggest pain in the asses. Like they're the worst students in the school for like a couple of years. Even my co-teacher was saying how bad they were and how they were the worst in a lot of years. And I had one student, a boy, who just straight up didn't give a shit. Like he told me off, and like literally there was times where I was teaching a lesson and I'd be trying to make things as fun as possible and joking around and making kids laugh and just, keeping things interesting and fun. And he would just, like, I would ask him a question, basic question from the lesson, like a key expression, and he would just do this to me. And I'm like, all right, first of all, you can't do that. So I would give him the 3-strike rule. You do it once, I warn you. Do it twice, I'm going to tell your homeroom teacher, because their homeroom teacher is like their mom. If you have a problem and you need to reprimand a student, have the co-teacher tell the homeroom teacher for you. That's like your procedure. The co-teacher should handle it, and then the co-teacher will tell the homeroom teacher, and the homeroom teacher should definitely take care of it for you. If it continues, there's really nothing you can do. This kid was really bad, and my one co-teacher gave me the advice of reaming him out in English, and I was not looking forward to that. But there was one day where he just pushed my buttons, and I just stopped class. I told him to get out. I walked outside, and I kind of cornered him a little bit, not in like a really ruthless way, but he was against like the wall, and I got really close to his face, and I just reamed him out in English really fast. And not that I was cursing or anything, but he couldn't understand me, but the whole point is he can't say anything back to you. And he was really upset. And for the rest of the class, he just put his head down and went to sleep. He wasn't a problem for the rest of the class, but afterwards I could tell, like, I hurt the kid's feelings. I took the advice of my co-teacher thinking that was the thing to do, and that's correct, but it wasn't my natural instinct as a teacher to do that. It was not a good experience. Like, I went to one of my other co-teachers I felt more comfortable with, and I told him what happened. And, he talked to the student for me, and then, he had me come in, and I apologized to the student, and he apologized to me. And I realized that doesn't work. If you yell and act like a dictator, you're just creating, like, friction between you and your students, and they're going to hate you. If your students hate you, like, imagine when you hated your teacher, you just, like, mentally check out and just be like, fuck this guy, I don't want to listen to what he has to say. And that causes a problem for the class, and it's just going to be a class that you hate going to every week. And my best suggestion is to just have your co-teacher handle it. Or what really worked for me after that situation is I joked around with that student. I got close with them. The students that I had problems with in the class, I would build a relationship with them. At my lunchtime, I would go out and I'd play soccer with them. And because I played soccer in college, it built a relationship with them. They had fun with me. They were looking up to me as like an older brother figure. So that really helped build a positive rapport with them. And over time, they started to like me more and have respect for me more. And then they started to realize in class, I'm not a dick, and I'm not here to yell at them, and I'm not going to ream them out. I deserve a little bit of respect. They know that. But they treated me like an older brother, and to me, that was perfect. I like that older brother role because they can joke around with me, and I can be really close, like, with them, like, on an interpersonal level where they can feel comfortable practicing their English with me and saying hi to me when I come to school and even outside of school. So that was really important for me. So I would definitely suggest that. If you have problem students, build a relationship with them any way you can. Find something that they like and connect with them, because the problem students in the class run the show. If they don't want to listen to your lesson, they're going to cause problems with other students, and then it's going to be like a cancer, and you can't stop it. So once you have problem students, connect with them, build a positive relationship with them, and try to get them on your side. All right, next is discipline. You won't really have any opportunity to discipline, honestly. You're going to have students talking when you're talking. You're going to have students hitting each other when you're talking. Have all of this handled by your co-teacher. If your co-teacher doesn't do this, sit down with them and ask them to, because that's their job. You're not Korean. You don't know how to yell at them in Korean, and you want to make sure that they're the disciplinarian and you're the facilitator of fun. Always keep that in mind. If you are the facilitator of fun, they're going to love you. Make the students love you and have the co-teacher be the bad guy. Let the co-teacher reprimand them and discipline them, and you're just there for fun and entertainment and keeping things interactive and engaging and making them laugh. All right, that's what worked best for me. Also, the good students. All right, get the good students on your side as well. If you have high-level students, build a relationship with them also, because they'll bend over backwards for you and help you out with everything. If you need like an activity explained in Korean, have one of your students explain it for you, and they'll get like a kick out of like using their English, and you'll have an extension of you in the classroom that's not your co-teacher, and they'll help you explain activities to the other students, which makes your job so much less like a pain in the ass generally. Next is learn Korean curse words. All right, don't ask your co-teacher like, okay, tell me how to like say all like, all the EPIK curse words, like the worst curse words in the book. Make Korean friends and have them explain them to you, and make sure you learn them, because there was a few times that in the beginning of the year I didn't understand my students, and they were just getting to know me, and they weren't trying to be rude, but they indirectly were, and just like whipping out curse words in front of me, or writing things on my refrigerator in like marker, like bad words, and you better learn them, because that way what they're saying, and if you catch them saying it, you can correct them. And you can say, I know what you're saying, don't do that. And that'll scare the shit out of them. And the fact that you know at least those curse words, they'll start thinking, wow, if he knows those curse words in Korean, maybe he knows more Korean. And you want to have that idea planted in their mind. You want the students to think you know more Korean than you actually do, because then they'll tend to back off a little bit, and they'll try to be a little bit more behaved. That's the other thing too. Learn Korean. My classroom Korean is the only thing that gets me by sometimes. Like, I have really good classroom Korean. I know how to say things that will help me connect with the students. Like, when I make mistakes in Korean, students laugh at me. And I don't take it personal. Like, I laugh with them too, because it shows them, listen, I don't know Korean. I'm learning another language just like you're learning another language. And it's okay to make mistakes. And it's okay to sound silly and to laugh at yourself. Be an example for them. You know, laugh at yourself. Make mistakes. Maybe make mistakes on purpose. And be a really easygoing person. And your classroom will be awesome. You know, building the relationship with the students is the most important thing in the world. Being an effective teacher is great, but if your classroom is boring and dull, you're not going to really have as positive as an experience in Korea as some of the other teachers that aren't as great of a teacher as you are, but they have the students eating out of their hands because they're just so outgoing and their presence is just so infectious that the students just want to be around them. And luckily, I have a positive relationship with my students, and because of that, it's made my time in Korea that much easier. So those are the big ones I can mention in classroom management. Have your co-teacher handle all the discipline, you be the facilitator of fun, and getting good with the good students, because they'll help you out, explain directions and keeping things under control. Don't yell at students. Be really willing to just roll with the punches. Let students, you know, drain out the noise. You know, don't expect students to always have a lot of energy. You know, they're tired. You know, imagine when you were a student, you were tired too. So be cool about it. You know, give them breaks sometime. You know, just don't beat them to death with like material and repeating things. You know, like have a heart. You know, have a heart and have a pulse for the classroom and understand what the classroom attitude is about, and then adjust your lesson to fit that mood. Best of luck. You know, if you have any other questions, shoot them below, down here. I don't know, whatever. Yeah, good luck. Have fun. Bye.